This video is a supplement to the video on the theory of everything. If you haven't watched that yet, please watch it first before viewing this one.
This video will discuss the tides. You've probably learned that the tides are caused by the gravitational pull of the moon. On the other hand, Einstein said that gravity is the distortion of space. So, which is correct? Scientists have chosen to turn a blind eye to this question. Has anyone ever proven the tides through the distortion of space? If not, I will prove it. Let's get started. Distortion of space means that there is a difference in density within space. By expanding or contracting, space changes its density, and the matter moving through it is greatly affected by this. A prime example of this is the change in mass. Matter is made up of particles that wind up space in this way. The space wound up by the atomic nucleus is what we call mass. Therefore, the mass can change depending on the surrounding space density. And when that happens, the matter loses speed. When mass increases, speed decreases. Although this is easy to understand intuitively, when applied to the theory of everything, this phenomenon appears a bit different. In another video, I claimed that matter decelerates when it curves, but it also decelerates due to changes in the surrounding space density. Here's how that mechanism works. Atoms carry two types of speed information. One is the speed required to start moving, and the other is the speed to actually move through space. As I've already explained the latter in another video, let me now explain the former. The laws of atomic motion are not related to mass, but mass plays a significant role only at the initial moment of motion. In other words, mass is proportional to the speed required to initiate movement. However, since no atom in the universe is at rest, this cannot be directly observed. So, why is this explanation necessary? It's because these two speeds fluctuate based on the surrounding space density. As a result of this phenomenon, even if an atom moves in a straight line through space, it repeatedly accelerates and decelerates. We can observe this phenomenon directly, and that is the tides. Planets and stars also reel in space in the same way. As they rotate and reel in space, they create wrinkles in space, where the space density becomes higher than the surrounding areas. Earth also has wrinkles extending in two directions like arms, which take 29 days to complete a full rotation. When seawater passes through these wrinkles, the difference in space density causes the seawater to increase in mass. The water, now heavier, slows down, causing a traffic jam of water, which moves from east to west. This motion shakes the ocean significantly in the direction of Earth's rotation, creating the 12-hour cycle of tides. The ebb and flow of the tides are caused by mass changes due to distortions in space and the Coriolis force, which is a result of the Earth's rotation. Gravity is not involved at all. However, since the Earth's rotation is related to gravity, you could say it's indirectly involved. I mentioned this in a separate video. This is the mechanism of tides explained through the distortion of space. Also, can you see that the mechanism of high and low tides is slightly different on the east coast compared to the west coast? This causes a shift in high tide times, with the east coast experiencing high tide later. By the way, the moon has finished its tug-of-war with Earth in space and can no longer reel in space, so it orbits the Earth along with the wrinkles in space. Because of this, the moon's orbit can no longer be explained solely by gravity. The spiraling of galaxies and the acceleration of clocks in GPS satellites are both phenomena related to this change in mass. It also affects the orbital motions of the Sun and Earth, as well as the gyroscopic effect. Lastly, let me provide some additional information regarding mass variation. Mass variation is already expressed by Einstein's equation, E equals mc squared. In the theory of everything, the speed of light conforms to the density of space, so c can be converted into spatial density. E represents energy and also mass, and its true nature is the space contracted by the atomic nucleus. This part was explained in a separate video. Now, what is m? This is the issue. The theory of everything adopts the mechanics of atomic units. Therefore, if m is a constant for each atom, it should be able to express mass variation dependent on spatial density. Illustratively speaking, this corresponds to part B, where spatial density decreases as the atomic nucleus contracts space. Also, the equation needs to be slightly modified. This is the equation representing mass variation. Why is there a minus sign for m? I plan to explain this at a later time.
One more point to add, regarding the redshift of light, which is cited as evidence for an expanding universe. Scientists have concluded that galaxies are receding, explaining that the stretching of light waves from distant galaxies can be understood through the Doppler effect, similar to sound. By the way, we should also be familiar with the phenomenon where our voices change due to helium, which, like the Doppler effect, causes a change in sound. This happens because when the medium through which sound travels becomes lighter, the wavelength changes, making the sound higher pitched. The theory of everything suggests that the speed of light changes depending on the density of space. This means that if light moves from an area of low density to an area of high density, the wavelength of light, like sound, should also change. Don't you think we need to reconsider a universe where the speed of light is not constant? Surely, the appearance of black holes would also change as a result. With this, the supplement to the theory of everything is complete.
Lastly, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up.